Hey everyone, this is Kim Reinecke, and I suffer from essential tremors. I told you on my post on Facebook that I would update the video on here regarding my visit to the Mayo Clinic. Um, I first want to tell you, I don't know if you can tell, but I actually have started to feel mm, better. Still not great, but better. The visit at Mayo was great. Um, the facility was amazing. Oh my gosh. The entire campus was amazing. Each person that you spoke to, they were at the top of their game and so wonderfully kind. They knew each person that came in that door was suffering, and they wanted them to have a easy experience. My tremors have calmed down quite a bit. My voice, I still have issues with, as you can tell, but it's still better than what it has been. The first doctor I saw was one of the neurologists. I had three physicians on my team, three neurologists, I should say, two physicians assistants, and two nurses. I did not meet all of them yet, but they are part of my team. The neurologist that I did see, the very first thing I noticed about her was she was very calm. The way that she spoke, very detailed. Of course, I brought all of as many records as I could. I uploaded them into my patient portal, which they had actually gave me access to prior to my appointment. So I was able to give all my information or input to all of my information into the portal, which made things very convenient. I apologize that I'm sitting in front of a window and because the lighting, I need the lighting. to be brighter, and plus, this is part of my treatment. Um, the doctor was very detailed. She actually took handwritten notes. She spent at least an hour, if not more, with me, um, evaluating me, having tests, different re reflex what's the word I'm looking for? Reflexes in my body, all of my extremities, um, similar to what all of the other neurologists had done, but she actually took it further with her um, physical examination of me. And she also listened to every word I said, as hard as and long as it takes me to speak. Um, she listened and she noted every single thing I said, which was amazing. Um, she did make notations in my chart. She had ordered several um, tests um, to rule things out. She, like my primary care and the movement disorder specialist that I saw in Wilmington, all three of them felt as though there is an underlying condition aside from my essential tremors that may be that is more than likely um, making my tremors so progressive and so unusually progressive and severe. Um, so she is basically, she had several tests done, several tests ordered. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that she noted in my chart. My assessment plan was number 1 is my head tremor. Number 2 is my cognitive issues and the decline. Number 3 is my gait, and that means the way that I walk. Number 4 is she noticed in some of my prior blood work that was done at another facility before going to Mayo with all the other physicians that I had seen. They were the ones that did the blood work. There was an elevated specific antibody that she was a little concerned with. So she had ordered um, some more blood work to be done, um, checking that antibody and also several others, um, and some other tests that had not been done. They basically, my friend Christy thought that I was probably gonna pass out from all the blood they took from me, which was probably about 8 or 10 vials, which honestly is not much because I used to be a phlebotomist, which is a person that draws blood. But we had not eaten yet that day, so she was a little concerned about that. Um, anyways, um, she also had a concerned with my insomnia and my prior diagnosis when I had my first sleep study done in Nashville, Tennessee, of mild sleep apnea, which meant that I did not fall into the criteria of the times that I stopped breathing um, during the test, which was done about, I want to say at least 18 years ago, 17, 18 years ago. Um, I had at that time the criteria, and I believe it's the same, to warrant a CPAP machine was you stopped breathing 5 times or more within an hour. At that time, I stopped breathing 2.5 times within an hour. So, um, the sleep specialist that I was seeing also had made the observation of my um, throat or my esophagus and how it was not a typical size, which caused my snoring, which is really bad. It can tend to be really bad. Um, and I've had snoring issues since I was a child, or teenager. So, although I'm not severely overweight, um, and I hate to say that, but the criteria for sleep apnea, typical sleep apnea, are people that have breathing issues, um, that are very out of shape or out of overweight. Um, I have gained weight, and it does get worse when I do gain weight. Um, but I'm not severely overweight. That's not a huge issue. So her plan, um, she actually had the blood work done, which as I mentioned, was not just regarding the antibodies that she found that were a little elevated. She ran several other blood tests that had not been performed by the other physicians that I had seen prior to her. But she also had an EEG done that was a lot more detailed than what I expected. Um, but that's okay. I'm glad that it was done. Um, she also wanted me to have what is called a neuropsychometric test, which basically is a memory test. She stated that with my memory loss, that concerned her as well. Um, she is waiting for all of as we go through and get the test more and more testing done. Um, I may end up having to um, get a lumbar puncture done, which is how they test for um, I can't remember what it's called, but a lumbar puncture where they go in and they um, take out some of your spinal fluid to test and see if there is any infection or diseases that may that I may have. She's basically attacking this from all sides. Um, she has had her assessment. I also went to the sleep specialist, who, again, very detailed and actually listened to me like she did. I was very pleased with that. Um, she was concerned with the fact that my insomnia has probably exacerbated my tremors. Um, she not only stated, and I believe I said this in my last video, that she feels as though I not only have essential tremors, um, I also have functional tremors. So, and that's the nice way of putting psychosomatic, um, or in your head, or stress related. Um, it's kind of like the perfect storm in your body, because there's so many things that you have to treat, because each disease, each condition can contribute to make things worse with the other disease or condition that you may have. I know the insomnia, once that is under control, that will make a huge difference. Um, and so the sleep specialist that I saw there, or the pulmonologist, he suggested, um, when you have severe insomnia like me, the only time that you should be in your bed is when you are sleepy enough to fall asleep, not to lay in there on your bed and work, not to lay there in your bed and watch TV. Um, and also because my sleep has flipped over like a person that works night shifts. Um, you don't get enough light. Your body has shifted. So you can see in the corner of my glasses, and let me take these off, um, that I have a special light that during the day I have to sit in front of. It's sort of like treating um, the winter blues, um, where doctors will, when people will get depressed during the winter months, especially when it is when you live in an area where you get your winters are much harsher. But now that I have this wonderful walker, and I'll show it to you in a minute, um, we're trying to get me back on track with my sleeping and no more staying up until 5 in the morning or not sleeping at all. So that is one of the things that he recommended. Um, he also recommended a book that um, explains to you and will help you get your sleep back on track. Um, he has also ordered another sleep study, which the equipment with the Mayo Clinic is, of course, top of the line. It's not what you're going to get here in, you know, Eastern North Carolina, not even in Wilmington, and pretty much not even at Duke or UNC Chapel Hill. So he wanted to get my sleep study done while I was there. But even if we stayed a couple extra days, my insurance would not approve of it during that time. So he has set me up with an in-home sleep study that is nothing like I had done a couple of years ago when I had an in-home sleep study from a local facility. This is, as I mentioned, top of the line. It doesn't have electrodes connected to your head. It actually has a band that goes across your chest. There is something that attaches to that reads your breathing and your heart rate, and also a monitor for your finger and your wrist. And that's it. Very little. And it stays stable when you are in your own bed, which makes things very comfortable as well. I know this is getting long, but this I wanted to get detailed with you about how different and how amazing it is at this clinic. Um, Also, I wanted to tell you about the new neurologist that I'm seeing in Wilmington that I had been recommended to. I think I may have mentioned this before, by a neurosurgeon in Atlanta, Georgia. She is aggressive. She has an aggressive approach, which I love. Um, she had ordered some of the same tests. She has a similar um, a, s- a similar um, approach as the Mayo doctor. She knew I was going to the Mayo Clinic after I had seen her. And she is one of the few doctors that actually stated, and she smiled and she said, I think you're doing the right thing. It's always better to get another opinion, um, to make sure that all bases are covered. And she knows the Mayo Clinic is one of the top 3 in the United States. So, um, I'm getting an MRI for my back because I had issues with my back since August of 2019 that have been chronic issues, and I've pretty much put on the back burner because of my tremors. And it's to the point now I can't put it on the back burner anymore because I found out that the hump on my back was, yeah, a little bit of curvature in my spine, but it was also due to all of the steroids to treat my back. So, and it's a common, from what I understand, this is what the doctor in Wilmington stated, as well as the doctor in Mayo. When you are on a lot of steroids, that can happen. It's a buildup of fatty tissue from the steroids that gather in that area. Um, so um, I'm not worried so much about that anymore. That was lifted off my mind, which is wonderful. Um, I am having the um, on March 3rd when I go to Wilmington to see my neurologist there again. Um, I am having the lumbar MRI for my back. Um, and I am also having the nerve test in my legs due to my gait or my issues with walking. Um, I can't just use a cane anymore. Um, if there's any distance that I have to walk, it makes it worse. So I have not been able to be in any way independent. Um, I've had to rely on friends and family to drive me anywhere and then see if they provide wheelchairs for me to go to the store, go shopping, anything like that, because using a cane was not enough. So the doctor had prescribed um, a walker for me, which is wonderful. And I'm going to show it to you in a second. It's one of those ones that you see a lot of that have the seat on it. It actually helps me walk more normal or straight, which is how I typically walk. Um, and it helps my legs get strengthened as well as helps my back because I'm not walking oddly because of the cane. Even though I do try to swap out hands with the cane. Um, but anyway, so there's that. I'm going to show you my walker because I've been sitting on the chair. And let's see if I can show you here. And this is my walker. It makes me more mobile. I hope you like my little Paris pants, but this is typical. It's either this or leggings. So, but I'm going to be able to start getting out now because I have the ability of being able to have better balance for one thing. And when I do get tired, I'll be able to sit down. And plus, it does fold up so I can ride the local, we call it sea cats. So people, this is a very small town. So people with disabilities or retired and can't drive, they're able to ride this bus and get out and go places. So that's what I'm going to start doing. Um, it was, I think, something that I needed, even though it is very exhausting and hard on my body at the end of the day. Um, being in Jacksonville and not being in the hotel room the entire time. That was a huge thing. Getting out, um, even though it was hard, and having to try to find places that it had wheelchairs, or we went to an outdoor shopping center, um, or shopping area that had that provided wheelchairs, but you had to reserve them 24 hours in advance. Um, but they had a golf cart where they could come and pick you up and drop you off wherever you wanted to go in that area, which was awesome. So I actually was able to get out and just laugh and have fun, and which I had an amazing time and just felt better. After the first visit to the clinic, it was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. Um, Somebody listened to me finally. Somebody was hearing me and believed what I was saying and saw how I was suffering. That was the biggest thing. And they were going to do whatever they needed to make sure that I could get treatment and could get better. Um, I don't know if this is going to last and if it'll keep getting better, but good Lord willing. And there was a lady that was drawing my blood and was talking about Saint Benedict, the the paint, patron saint of protection, which I had heard of, but I didn't know what he stood for. I was not raised Catholic, but I have a lot of Catholic friends. I'm a Christian, um, and I have faith in God, and I believe in the saints. I believe in faith. When she had told me the story about Saint Benedict, as well as a personal story about her and her husband, and how her husband had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 5 years prior. she said they gave it to God. They gave everything to God and put it in God's hands. And Saint Benedict protected them, and so did God. Her husband is still alive to this day when they gave him less than a month to live. He's in full remission. And then she said a prayer for me and with me. And that was amazing. And some people may not believe in Christianity. You may have other beliefs, but that installed hope and faith in me again, because I had almost given up. So that meant a lot. And the whole trip, although the cost of it, I'll never recover from this debt. But I'll get better with this treatment. So, one step at a time. I can't stress right now about the costs and the debt. I have to remind myself that the biggest thing is my health right now. And my mama and my brother and all of my friends keep telling me that as well. I still have not gotten approved for disability, so I live on my credit cards. My mama has let me borrow money. The debt is really, really bad. But again, I can't worry about that right now. The only thing I can do is get better. And if anybody ever needs any information, any advice about going out of town for treatment, like going to the Mayo Clinic, they are so good at sending you all of the information. The hospitals that are the closest to the clinics generally will have a free shuttle that will run you back and forth. And they actually give patient rates for the rooms, which are fantastic. But still, you can end up there for weeks to a month or longer. I met a lady when I was doing laundry at the hotel. She was there with her sisters, and one of her sisters had liver cancer, and she was getting evaluated so that she could get on the transplant list. And they had already been there for 3 weeks. And what takes the longest is not seeing the doctors. This campus is so huge, it's like a small town or a small city. There's a hospital on the campus, along with individual buildings that are specifically used for different what's the word I'm looking for? Like neurology or pulmonology or cardiology, things like that. So, like I said, the campus is huge. And what takes the longest is getting the tests scheduled. As I said, the one test that my doctor was hoping to get done before I left. Now, the soonest they could get me in was May 19th. So if that tells you anything, I'll be put on a wait list, a cancellation list, but still, I don't want to go down there just for that one test. So they're good at trying to get as many tests done, and scheduled or within that same week, so that you're not going for just one thing. So anyways, that's that's the hardest part about being there. But I can give you some great advice on, you know, hotels, what to look for, what to ask for. Don't book it online. You need to speak to reservations so that they know why you're there. You can get a discount, and the discount is even better than any discount that you can get unless you have lots and lots of reward points. My Mayo discount at the second hotel I had to go to, because I couldn't certain days of the week at the first hotel I was at, they get so booked up. The friends and family rate that I had through, thank God, a wonderful friend that got me that rate. They couldn't provide that during the early part of the week because of the fact that they were on campus, the only hotel on campus. And so their rates went up. It's a great hotel. It's a Marriott facility. Um, has its own restaurant. You don't have to go anywhere except for walk out of your room and go to the restaurant for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It didn't matter. But when I had to check and find other rooms somewhere close, I had checked the government rate because my brother gets a government rate. And that is one of the best rates that you can get. The Mayo rate was actually $20 to $30 a night less than the government rate. It was the lowest rate there was. So, but if you do end up staying at any of these hotels, as I mentioned, that are close and accommodating and work with Mayo, with getting discounts, if you have to stay longer than a week, or if you do have to stay a week and you know you're going to have to stay a week at least, try to negotiate an even lower rate because of your stay, your length of stay. So that's just a little thing I wanted to let you know. If y'all have any other questions, you know that I am happy to answer them. I will give you another update. I have patient portals through all of my doctors that I currently see and have seen in the past. I will be sending all of my records from Mayo Clinic and from my new neurologist in Wilmington to the risk management office at Duke regarding the last physician that I saw there and the treatment that I received there and the misdiagnosis that I received there. So I'll keep you posted on that as well. It's getting better. It's taken a long, long time, but it's getting better. And fingers crossed and lots of prayers that it stays that way. It continues to get better. And God willing, before the summer comes, I'm hoping I can go back to work at least part-time. We'll see. That's the one thing that I really do miss. I miss being outside. I miss being on the beach. I miss the smell of the salt air. I miss the sand in my toes. I miss all of that. But most of all, I miss my job that I love so much. and have worked so hard for. This was the job for the rest of my life. And I can honestly say that. So, ah, please continue to watch and share my videos and pray that I can go back to work soon, even part-time. I need it. I need to be normal again in some way, shape, or form, which I'm slowly getting there now. I feel like there's progress being made, but I had to fight really hard for it. And anybody with ET has to fight for it. And I don't want us to have to fight this hard. It's not right. We're the number one movement disorder in the world, and nobody knows anything about it. I've told I don't know how many people in the last year that I have essential tremors. They all look at me like I have 8 heads because I'm shaking, and they don't. They're like, "What's essential tremors?" Well, essential tremors should be a household word, just like Parkinson's and MS. This is not something is that should be taken lightly. It does vary in people, and it is progressive, and some people it's slower than others. But when you have another underlying condition, it can make it worse and progress a lot faster. So we need this awareness so desperately, especially we're the number one movement disorder in the world. How in the hell does nobody know about it unless they've been affected by it, by a family member, or they have it themselves, because it is hereditary? So please, please keep sharing, keep watching. Let people know about this. I've sent in a request and sent my link to my YouTube page to the TV show The Doctors. They've done a small segment about ET back in 2016 when focused ultrasound was passed or approved by the FDA. So that was it. It was a literal 10-minute blurb about it. And the young lady, I've seen her on YouTube. I've seen her videos, which all of her videos have been on there regarding focus ultrasound. That's not the only treatment. Um, there's several, well, not several, there's about 3 other treatments you can have with a head tremor like mine. You can have Botox done in your neck. Um, deep brain stimulation, um, focused ultrasound, and a thalamus knife. Um, there's those are our options when the medicine doesn't work. So we need help. We need lots of help. I'm not anyone special. I'm just me, a normal woman that woke up one morning and was shaking and just got worse and worse over a year's period of time. So, and became debilitated in less than a year. So we need help. If I need to be that face, I'll be that face. This is why I put my story on YouTube. I'm willing to do what I need to spread this awareness and to show you how hard it is to live a life or to not live a life, because that's what happens. You're breathing. You may be able to talk or you may not, but for the most part, you can't do anything else. So that's what I mean when I say you really don't have a life. You lose control of everything, your cognitive functions, and your physical body. So please, again, share this. Help me spread the awareness, and so that people can know when they see us, hey, they might have essential tremors. They might have MS. They might have Parkinson's. But I want essential tremors to be part of that thought because it's needed. Um, my memory is shot, so I don't remember a lot of things. But I'm gonna shut this video down, and end it like I always do. I do not receive any compensation at all for doing this, for posting these videos. This is my video journal. That's what it is. This is for the awareness of our disease. Um, if you need or want to know more, need information, or you want to know more, go to the Mayo Clinic website, the neurology website. They give great information. Also, go to the International Essential Tremor Foundation. It's a nonprofit, but they have so much information to help you. And it's international. It's not just for the US. There's so many people that I that are part of our support group on Facebook that are within other countries, and we talk about how some countries, Canada, where they provide your health care, a lot of the treatments and medications are not covered because for our disease, they don't know enough about it. So these people have to suffer. And then in other countries, there was a lady that lived in London who recently had DBS surgery, and her surgical team consisted of top surgeons from other countries like Switzerland and Italy, eh, all over the European continent or the Eurasian continent. Um, Australia seems to be even more behind than we are when it comes to treatment. They seem to have a harder time getting treatment there than we do here, which is really hard to see. So please go to that website. It's an international nonprofit website. It tells you where you can find movement disorder specialists. It gives you information about current research, about how to help, whether it's donations or starting your own um, Facebook groups, support groups in your areas where there's smaller cities like here. I did not realize that there were so many people here, or even in North Carolina in general, that have essential tremors. And being able to communicate with each other, especially regarding the treatments and the physicians that you see, how much that could help, where you can share that information. Who's the doctors that you see and that you like that have helped you? Um, who would you suggest to go to? Where do you suggest to go to? What testing would you suggest to use? Things like that. That's what the support groups are there for. Whether you live in the same city or state, or if you're in another country, that makes people feel like we can relate to each other, because the only way that anybody can know how it feels is to be one of those people or be a caretaker to one of those people. And that's another thing, having a support group for the caretakers. They need it too. They watch their loved ones go through so much, and there's nothing they can do. That's the hard part. And then with me, when I went through those bursts of having emotional issues where it had just completely overtaken me, and that was a combination of the disease and the medication. And my mama, who I have to live with, to have someone help take care of me as a 50-year-old woman, that's pretty humbling. And she needs people to talk to. It took a long time for her to understand how this made me suffer so badly. She didn't understand what I was going through. And then when she did, it hurt her even worse. And then my wonderful anger did the same thing. So I can give you tips on what to use for your shower, what to use for that are economical, um, and easily accessible. Um, a lot of things, if you do have insurance, will be covered by insurance. Like my walker, it was prescribed by my doctor, and my insurance covered it. Now, my brother was nice enough when he picked it up. He didn't like the walker that the insurance had chosen. So he actually did an upgrade on my walker, paid for it himself, but insurance paid for the majority of it. He just picked up the extra cost. If you need handles for the shower, if you need handles for the toilet, if you need anything, any type of products or equipment to use to assist you, your doctor can prescribe a good part of that, and insurance will cover it. If they don't, I can tell you the cheapest way to do it that is still safe. I did that initially myself. That's part of my debt, but thank goodness I am a 1099 um, tax person. I am self-employed. So the medical stuff can be written off. And I believe that even if you're a W-2, you can write off certain medical supplies. Just check on the tax website or the IRS website, or call an accountant, ask them. Again, I keep tending to veer off, but I'm going to lay down for a little bit, but I just wanted to, again, to give you an update, and I keep getting stripes of light, and I apologize. See if that's, no, not much better. Anyways, please visit the website for the International Essential Tremor Foundation, the Mayo Clinic website. You can Google them, or you'll see in most of my videos, in the description box, you'll see that I have the link for the International Essential Tremor website. They also have a Facebook support group, which I am a part of, and I share all my videos too. The website is www.essentialtremor.org, and you just type in International Essential Tremor Foundation on Facebook. You can find them. There are a couple of other essential tremor support groups on Facebook that are wonderful. Several questions are always on there, stories that will make you laugh. All of us try to find some type of humor in our current condition, because you have to try to find it. It's something you have to do to get through your life, or your non-life, I should say. But just remember to share. share all of this. Let us be a household known disease. I don't want anybody to suffer from this disease. I just want it to be known, like Parkinson's and MS. That's all I want. I want the research. I want the treatments, not just for me, but for everyone. There's way too many of us that suffer from this and that are getting misdiagnosed or diagnosed at a young age, such a young age, anywhere from the age of 3 to the age of 80, we're getting diagnosed. And it can range from a hand tremor or the tremor that affects your entire body, like it's done to me. So please just share if you can, even if you can't or don't have anybody in your family that's suffering right now. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. I never thought I would be in this position ever in my life. Nobody does. So, and it is in my family. My biological father's mother had tremors. That's where I got it from. So, anyways, after I will give you a little bit of a shorter update next week, just to let you know how and if I continue to feel a little better and how my new walker is working for me. If I'm able to get out more and feel better, my sleeping as well. And then after that, the big appointment with my Wilmington doctor on March the 3rd, and all the tests that I'm having done that day. And keep you posted on my back and how that's doing. So, thank you again for all your support, your views, the subscriptions. I'm amazed that a stranger is reaching so many other strangers. You're watching me and I'm letting you see how my life is. It's messy. It's hard. It's good sometimes, but most times it's bad. You see me in my sloppy clothes and my little pink Paris pants flannel pants, and my hair's not done, my face is not washed, things like that. I've let you into that, and I never thought I would ever do that. But I had to show you what life is like with this. And thank you for watching it. I'm amazed, completely amazed and in awe. And thank you for your support. And please hit like if you can, if you feel like it, and subscribe so you know when I post a new video, which I'm going to try to get back to doing every week. So you can see either the progression or the decline, which hopefully it's the progression. So, but I do feel better than I have in probably the last 6 months. So I'm just really exhausted from the trip and still recuperating, but I plan to be getting out this week on sea cats and with my new walker and getting some independence back in my life. So thank you again. And I will see you next week. Y'all have a good week. I hope there's not too much snow where you are. If there is, I hope you're enjoying it and maybe doing a little skiing or building a snowman. The sun's out today and it's warmed up. Thank goodness. We don't get much snow here. But thank you again. I tend to keep rambling, but thank you. Thank you for listening to my rambling. I'll see you soon. And next time, there won't be any stripe lights.